Welcome to the Live Big podcast, where real estate expert Nick Paynes shows you that everyone can build wealth through real estate investing. Nick and his featured guests will give you the tools, resources, and expert information you need to leverage real estate into a wealth-building strategy, so you can stop worrying about your 9-to-5 and start to live big. Here's Nick with today's episode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Live Big podcast. We're going to change directions a little bit here today. And as we head into 2024, I think it's really important for each and every one of us to set some goals. And so we're going to talk a little bit about this today. And if you go back to episodes 3 and 5 of this podcast, we talk a lot about goal setting and mindset. And this year, as we move into the new year, is no different. So whether you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, a real estate professional, a real estate investor, a salary or an hourly employee, you all should have goals, right? And so I want to talk a little bit about how we plan for our lives and a little bit about how we plan for our businesses each and every year, and how this will help not only with your investment goals, but in your personal life and in your business goals as we kind of move into the new year. So October and November are kind of business planning season. So I'm a little bit late on this podcast, but I think it's still good going into the new year. So when we write down when we write our goals down and we share them with others, we have a bit more accountability than when we keep them to ourselves. So, the first thing is figure out what we want to accomplish next year. And I highly encourage you to do a couple of things. The first thing would be create a list of personal goals and then create a list of business goals or professional goals. Keep those things separate. And the idea is that what we want to make sure is that we're not sacrificing, one set of goals at or achieving one set of goals at the expense of the other set, right? So if we have personal goals, we're not, sacrificing time with our kids, time with our family, time with our significant others, whatever it may be, at the expense, to go reach our professional goals. So we want to write those goals down, because the reality is 6 months into the year, when we get, into June of next year, it's easy to either consciously or subconsciously kind of change our goals halfway through the year when we start falling behind, right? But if they're written down from day one, they're staring back at us every single day. And we tend to get closer to accomplishing those goals because we see them every day, or they're written down. And I encourage you to post them somewhere where you see them. Put them on the back, put them on the door of your bathroom, something like that. Put them on your bathroom mirror. So when you brush your teeth every morning and every night, you're seeing those same goals kind of staring back at you. But you got to make sure you write them down, because it's too easy to change those goals halfway through the year when you're not getting exactly where you want to be. So, my question to you is, do you want to look back on 2024 and feel disappointed in your accomplishments for the year? Or do you want to check off all of those goals by the end of the third quarter and then spend the fourth quarter breaking through that glass ceiling that you set for yourself? Or heck, taking some time off. You've already reached all your goals for the year, like reward yourself and go on a nice long vacation or something like that. So there's a couple things when you're goal setting. I think that, for one, I think it's important to set goals that are attainable, but also that stretch your limitations. Because if you fail to reach your goal, but you still do better than you thought you would, we call that failing up. And if you've reached every goal that you've ever set for yourself, then I would argue that you're not setting your goals high enough. So set those goals high. Some people call them BHAGs, or big, hairy, audacious goals. But something that you can fail up. Like if you miss it, but you still have the best year of your life, that's great. Right? So I want to tell a little story, create like a little analogy for goal setting, because so many people, I know we went over some statistics in the earlier podcast about where we were, what percentage, I suppose, of people were actually setting goals, and actually how many people were actually writing them down. And it's super low. But I want to use a little analogy to put into perspective why honestly, it's so crazy not to do this and to not write your goals down, right? And not have a game plan. I'm going to use a house analogy because that's what we talk about. We talk about real estate, right? So imagine you were going to build your own custom home or go through an extensive remodel in your current house, but you didn't have a blueprint for that. And your excavator shows up and comes to start your custom home build, and you would just say to them, dig. The reality is they're going to say to you, how deep, how wide, how long, like where on the land does it go? If you don't have a plan, if you don't have a blueprint for it, we don't know how to get there. So if your concrete guy showed up to pour the foundation, he's going to ask, how thick does it need to be? Where are your footers? How much rebar are we using? Where are we putting window wells? And if you don't have all that mapped out, they can't perform their jobs, and they won't. Right? So without a blueprint or a plan or a business plan or a life plan, we can't answer those questions. And the reality is that most of us go into every single year with no blueprint or no plan for our lives and no goals. And so a life with no goals doesn't seem like much of a life at all. And a bunch of goals without a plan is just a wish, right? And so when we're talking about business, and we're talking especially like in real estate, we tell people that wish marketing does not work, okay, or it doesn't work very well, at least, right? And wish marketing is, I wish someone would call, or I wish someone would buy from me. That's wish marketing, right? And you can't control wish marketing. We can control our goals, because we can set a goal and we can work backwards from there, what it takes to accomplish that goal. So the crazy thing to me is when you think about how much more important your life is than maybe building a new home or remodeling your home, you would have a set of blueprints. You would have an architect come in and design you a step-by-step plan of how to get that custom home or how to get that remodel done in your house. But you're not willing or able or whatever, wanting to do that with your life. That seems crazy to me, right? And so I want you to think back almost like as a revelationary piece. Think back on your own childhood and your upbringing, because each of you has your own story of growth, right? So maybe you grew up poor, or maybe you grew up middle class, or maybe you grew up wealthy. And maybe for some of you, let's say a vacation to Disney World with your family was a dream that you were never able to achieve. Maybe your parents wanted to take you to Disney World, but it was just something that was never within your family's financial reach. While others maybe spent their years going on multiple family vacations a year to Hawaii or Europe or otherwise. The point is that one family was living or doing what another family felt was impossible. And so what I want you to do is as you think about your own life and what has developed your mentality today, I want you to visualize a pyramid in your head, and we're going to create 4 layers building up from the bottom with this pyramid. And at the base of that pyramid, we have a foundation, and that foundation is a block of experiences, okay? And it's all of the things in life that we go through. That's the foundation of this kind of emotional pyramid or a pyramid of life, okay? And just above those experiences, as we go up, we have our belief system, okay? And that belief system is shaped by all of those experiences. So we tend to set goals based on those experiences that we have in our lives. So above the belief section in the pyramid is our actions, and our beliefs control our actions. And lastly, our actions create our results. Okay, so from the top down, we have our results, then we have our actions, then we have our beliefs, and below that, we have our experiences. Okay. And so in order to change the results that we have in our life, the very top of that pyramid, okay, we actually have to change our actions. And in order to change our actions, we have to change our beliefs. So it starts at beliefs. We can't change our experiences, or at least our past experiences. We can only change our future experiences. And so once we make those changes and we change our belief system to believe the things that we once thought were impossible that we now think are possible, it changes the actions that we do, and our actions change those results. And once we get those results, it flips around and goes back down to the bottom, and new results create new experiences. Okay. So this is how we ultimately transform our entire pyramid of life. And so when you think about people in life that have maybe changed their circumstances or got themselves out of a difficult upbringing, for example, you have to understand that at some point those people change their belief system. So many people, if you read books and you watch documentaries or whatever it may be about people that grow up in say East St. Louis or Baltimore or something like that, there's people that live in those areas that just believe that life was meant for them, that a life of violence or a life of being in a gang or of drugs and that type of stuff, that they were meant to be there. That's a belief system that was created, right? They followed maybe their parents' footsteps. They followed their brothers or their cousins or their sisters. They followed a trend, or they followed something that because of their experiences was created for them. This belief system was created for them to think that they could never get out of East St. Louis, that they could never get out of the slums, that they could never get out of a life of drugs or violence. And so as we change our belief system, it changes our actions. We believe that we can get out. We believe we can get out of that, out of a level of poverty or a level of low income. And that belief that we can get out of that system changes what we do on a day-to-day basis. And as we change those things that we do on a day-to-day basis, we start to see results. And now we have new experiences, and we realize that we actually can change that mindset that we have and that belief system that we have. And so the difference between the average person and the exceptional person is actually in the actions. So action creates results, and what we focus on becomes our reality. So one of the things that I want you to think about, I want you to, again, take some time to think about your own upbringing, your own childhood, and think about what belief systems were put into place for you, and maybe the limiting beliefs that you have about what you can and can't accomplish, and start to think about how you can change those belief systems so that you can have better results, right? And once you have those better results and you have those better experiences, you'll never want to go back to the old experiences. You'll never want to go back to what that is. And you'll know what actions it takes to be in one set of experiences versus the other. So as you put together your plan or your goals for next year, whether they're personal or business goals, I'd encourage you to go back and listen to episode 3 of this podcast. Okay. And episode 3 talks about your big why. I want you to remember or remind yourself of what it is that truly motivates you, because that true motivation is what's going to help change that belief system and allow you to change your actions. And one of the things I want you to also encourage you to do is to try to make sure that whatever that motivating factor is, it's not always all about you. Because when it's about you, you're less likely to achieve it. Because it's easy to let ourselves down. As individuals, it's easy to just say, oh, I didn't accomplish that. That's okay. It's a lot harder to let someone else down. And so you have to be willing to do whatever your big why is, or whatever the change is that you need to make in your life to accomplish the goals that you want to accomplish. You have to be willing to do it for someone else. So start thinking about who that person may be, or what group of people that may be in your life, that why you're willing to take action and why you're willing to change your belief system. It could be a spouse, it could be your children, it could be a group of people that you volunteer with, it could be your church. Any of these things, right? What is it? How is it going to change your life if you change your beliefs and your actions to help someone else, right? So one of the things that I do is I help people build business plans. And so if you're out there and I can help build personal life plans, investment plans, how you're going to invest your money, things like that. But your business plans are so important. And so I run seminars from time to time, webinars from time to time, helping people build their business plan. And you can do this in any industry that you're in. You don't have to be in the real estate industry. Business planning is something that you can, it's not necessarily industry specific. And so if there's a way that I can help you, or if there's some way that I can help you with building a goal system or a business plan for you for the next year, please reach out. I'm always happy to help and let you know when my next webinar is. That's something that you can join in. So that's pretty much it for today. Kind of a shorter episode, but I want to leave you with one quote that I hope kind of empowers you to set big goals for yourself in 2024. And that is, if you want to stay exactly where you are, keep doing exactly what you've been doing. So I'll repeat that. If you want to stay exactly where you are, keep doing exactly what you've been doing. If you want to change your life, you want to do something different, then your actions have to be different. And that usually comes from your beliefs. So plan your business, plan your life for 2024, set big goals for yourself, and find a way so that you can live big in 2024. Thanks for tuning in today. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Live Big podcast. For even more real estate and investment resources, go to blackyetigroup.com/resources and download Nick's complete guide to running your own rental properties. Tune back in next week for another episode, and until then, live big.
Live Big does not provide investment, legal, or tax advice, and nothing herein should be construed as being financial, legal, tax, or other advice. Live Big does not represent that any securities or services discussed are suitable for any investor. No investment or other decision should be made solely based on the contents or information found on the website or podcast. When making a decision about your investments, you should seek the advice of a professional financial advisor or qualified expert.